The early light filtered gently through the emerald leaves of the jungle canopy. A pair of parakeets chirped from a high branch, their calls echoing off the trunks of ancient trees. A monkey yawned, dangling lazily from a vine, while the hum of beetles filled the humid air like a steady drumbeat of nature's morning rhythm. Beneath the roots of a towering kapok tree, nestled in a bed of mossy ferns, a small tiger cub stirred in his sleep. His striped body was curled tightly, nose tucked into his tail, dreaming of treetop leaps and faraway lands. The cub twitched once, then twice, before finally stretching his legs and letting out a wide, toothy yawn. His name was Toby. Not quite a grown tiger, not quite a cub, Toby was somewhere in between. Old enough to know his way around the jungle, but young enough that every day still felt like a new adventure. As he opened his eyes, he blinked away the soft morning light. Sunbeams sliced through the green overhead, dancing gently across his fur. He rolled onto his back and let out a sigh. Toby, to himself, another beautiful day, and I've already explored every inch of this part of the jungle. He sat up, his ears flicking as birds darted overhead. Toby, more excitedly, but maybe, just maybe, today's the day I find somewhere new. With a skip in his step and no breakfast in his belly, he said he liked the thrill of starting empty. Toby padded away from his nest beneath the tree. The jungle called to him, not with words, but with the sway of vines and the shimmer of sunlight across the leaves. He trotted toward the deeper paths, where the undergrowth grew thicker and sounds were less familiar. A place where grown tigers didn't usually let cubs wander. But Toby was determined. Scene 2, bounding with joy, the jungle was like a vast green playground to Toby. Each turn in the path offered a new surprise. A flash of color from a jungle parrot, the sudden splash of a fish in a stream, or the rustle of a snake slithering just out of sight. The forest was alive, and it felt like it had been waiting just for him. He found his favorite log, the one that had fallen across the narrow ravine, moss-covered and wide enough for just one paw at a time. Toby climbed up and balanced there, tail swishing in excitement. Toby, grinning, and now, for the great leap of the jungle. He crouched dramatically, then leapt into the air, paws stretched wide. He landed on the soft earth with a thud, laughing to himself as he skidded into a pile of leaves. Toby, laughing, perfect landing. 10 out of 10. No tiger in history has ever leapt so heroically. The jungle didn't clap, but the rustling leaves and scattering birds felt like applause to him. He took off running, weaving through the trees, bounding over rocks and ducking under branches. The wind blew through his fur. The ground felt warm beneath his paws. He was in his element. Not just a tiger cub anymore, but a tiger on a mission. Narrator, though he didn't yet know what that mission was, his heart told him there was something waiting. Something big. Something new. Scene 3, through the heart of the forest. As Toby ventured farther, the forest began to change. The air grew thicker, damper. The familiar birdsong grew quieter. The trees, tall and proud before, now stood even closer together, their leaves casting strange shadows. Toby slowed to a walk. He sniffed the air, ears twitching. Toby, softly, this part smells different. Like pepper and rain. He padded carefully through the thick underbrush. Flowers he'd never seen before bloomed on either side of him, purple, star-shaped blossoms that shimmered faintly in the light. Their scent was sweet, but not overly inviting. He glanced up and noticed the vines overhead crisscrossing like a ceiling. Narrator, this wasn't a part of the jungle he recognized. And that thrilled him. Toby crouched and crawled beneath a massive leaf. He followed a narrow animal trail, overgrown and barely visible. His instincts whispered that he wasn't the first to walk this path, but maybe he'd be the first tiger to follow it all the way through. A rustle to the left made him stop. He froze. Then, a giggle? He turned, ears perked. It wasn't a monkey. And it wasn't the wind. Someone, or something, was nearby. Watching. Toby crouched low, his heart pounding, not from fear, but from curiosity. Suddenly, the undergrowth ahead shifted. A small brown shape bounced into view, its large ears flicking and tail boinging behind it like a coiled spring. Toby, blinking, what, in the jungle, is that? the creature in front of Toby didn't roar or growl. It didn't screech or chirp. Instead, it bounced. Boing! 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 It landed softly on two large feet, tail balanced behind it like a rudder, then turned to face Toby with the biggest grin he had ever seen. She had short brown fur, round eyes, and ears almost as tall as Toby himself. Toby, whispering to himself, she's not a deer, not a hare, not a monkey either. He stepped out from behind a bush. The creature blinked, then smiled wider. Mysterious creature, well, hello there. I thought I heard someone following me. Toby, cautiously, hi. I'm Toby. I live here. In this jungle. Creature, bouncing slightly in place, I'm Cara. I don't live here exactly, I'm kind of just exploring. Toby tilted his head. Toby, you hop. A lot. Cara, laughing, I'm a kangaroo. We do that. It's sort of our thing. Toby had never heard of a kangaroo before. But he instantly liked her energy. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't shy. She looked right at him like they were already friends. Toby, growing curious, you're new to this jungle. Cara, yep. My family moved from the grassy plains across the river ridge. It's so green here. So many smells. So many leaves. She bent down and picked up a handful of fallen leaves with great interest. Cara, sniffing, these smell like pepper and rain. Toby blinked. That's exactly what he thought earlier. Toby, grinning, you're not bad at jungle stuff for a newcomer. Cara, bouncing excitedly, wanna show me around? Scene 5, they tore through Toby's jungle and just like that, they were off. Toby led Cara down winding jungle trails, hopping across small streams and ducking under tangled vines. Every few steps, she gasped in wonder. Cara, whoa! Look at those parrots. Toby, those are screechers. Don't stand under them. They poop. A lot. Cara giggled so hard she nearly tripped on a root. But she caught her balance mid-bounce. Cara, thanks for the warning. They passed a colony of ants building a leaf bridge across a gap in the path. Cara crouched to watch, fascinated. Cara, amazed, they carry leaves bigger than their bodies. Toby, proudly, jungle ants. They're the strongest team in the whole forest. The two paused at Toby's favorite mango tree. He jumped and knocked one down with a swift paw. Cara caught it in her pouch like a basket and offered him half. Cara, offering it, let's split it. Friends share, right? Toby nodded. The mango was warm from the sun and sweet as honey. Scene 6, the race begins. As they finish their mango snack, Cara bounced in place with renewed energy. Cara, okay, jungle tiger, let's race. Toby, eyebrows raised, you sure? I am the fastest cub in this entire jungle. Cara, grinning, and I'm the fastest kangaroo this jungle has ever seen. Which, technically, makes me the fastest by default. Toby snorted in laughter. Toby, you're on. He crouched, claws digging into the dirt for grip. Cara, on 3. Together, 1, 2, 3. They were off. Cara bounced like a spring, high, powerful hops that launched her ahead. Toby zigzagged with speed and agility, tail swishing as he darted around trees and over puddles. They raced past startled birds, leapt over logs, and splashed through a hidden stream. The jungle blurred around them as they pushed faster, neither willing to let the other win too easily. Cara, laughing mid-hop, you're pretty quick for a fuzzy tail. Toby, panting, and you bounce like a frog on fire. They ran side by side, each determined, each grinning wildly. They didn't care about winning. The joy was in the race itself. Eventually, they reached a tall stone covered in moss. Both stopped, panting, paws on knees, or in Cara's case, on her pouch. Toby, let's call it a tie. Cara, agreed. Besides, I smell another adventure just over that ridge. Toby looked where she pointed. A narrow, unfamiliar trail led upward, disappearing between two thick trees. He'd never noticed it before. Toby, eyes lighting up, that's not on any of my usual paths. Cara, which means we have to check it out. They looked at each other, and without another word, bounded toward the mystery trail, side by side. Games and giggles on the trail. The trail was narrow, barely wide enough for Toby's paws, and wound up through a patch of dense jungle. Every few steps, a root tried to trip them or a vine snuck out like a slithering snake. But that didn't stop them. Cara, laughing, this path is trying to stop us, but it clearly doesn't know who it's dealing with. Toby, grinning, yeah, we're jungle masters now. Their journey became a playful obstacle course. Cara bounced over fallen branches like they were stepping stones, while Toby zipped through thorny bushes like a furry blur. When the trail dipped into a small ravine, Toby challenged Cara to a crawling race underneath the vines. Toby, smirking, let's see if you can hop on your belly. Cara, watch me wiggle like a snake. She scooted forward dramatically, giggling as leaves stuck to her fur. Toby couldn't help but laugh so hard he rolled into a pile of dry moss. Bits of jungle fluff clung to his whiskers, making Cara shriek with laughter. Cara, pointing, you look like an old lion with a grey beard. Toby, snorting, old lions wish they looked this good. Despite the joking, they kept their pace steady. Each bend in the path revealed something new, glowing mushrooms under fallen logs, tree frogs with sapphire blue skin, and once, a tiny snake curled around a flower, asleep like a ribbon on a birthday present. Cara stopped to watch the snake in awe. Cara, whispering, even the tiniest things here are magical. Toby nodded, suddenly aware of how quiet and peaceful this part of the jungle was. No loud birds, no monkeys throwing fruit, just stillness and strange beauty. They continued climbing, moving carefully now. Scene 8, the rise to the ridge. As they pushed higher, the jungle began to thin. The canopy opened up to patches of sky, bright and blue, spotted with drifting clouds. The air grew cooler, the wind tickling their fur as they reached the ridgeline. Large rocks jutted from the earth like jagged teeth, forcing them to slow their pace. Cara, panting for phew, this hill doesn't like us. Toby, smiling, but tired, my legs agree. They paused on a wide, flat stone nestled into the side of the hill. It looked out over the jungle below, offering a panoramic view of the forest they had just run through. Toby flopped down, rolling onto his back and looking up at the clouds. Cara joined him, lying back and breathing hard. Cara, after a pause. You ever feel like the sky is looking back at you? Toby, quietly, sometimes. When it's this quiet, I feel like the whole world's listening. They lay in silence for a moment, letting the wind cool their faces. Then, just like that, Cara sat up. Cara, pointing, is that a cave up there? Toby followed her gaze. Just past a thick cluster of ferns, the trail narrowed into what looked like a shaded tunnel of stone and vine. Toby, there's only one way to find out. Refueled by curiosity, they clambered back onto their paws and pressed on. The path became trickier now, more angled, more uneven. Rocks slipped beneath their feet. The trees thinned more and more, until they were walking in full sunlight. Then suddenly, Toby, sniffing the air, smells like space. Like openness. Cara, nodding slowly, and wind. A lot of wind. They shared a look, neither smiling anymore. It was the kind of silence that warned you something big was ahead. Scene 9, the cliff's edge. As they came around the final bend, everything dropped away. Cara gasped. Toby's paws slid slightly on the gravel. He caught himself just in time, digging his claws into the dirt to stop. One more step, and he would have tumbled. They stood on the edge of a massive cliff. The land ended suddenly, like a torn page. Below them stretched a vast valley, green and golden, cradled by distant blue hills. A river sparkled far beneath like a silver thread. Birds soared through the open air, their wings catching the wind and gliding effortlessly. The sound of rushing air filled their ears. Toby, whispering, "Whoa, Cara," in awe, it's like the end of the world. They stood in stunned silence. It wasn't just the beauty. It was the realization they had almost run right off the edge. The excitement of the trail, The game, the race, it had nearly led them to danger. Cara, voice trembling, we could've, she didn't finish the sentence. Toby, quietly, I didn't see it. I was just running. Not thinking. He sat down slowly, legs a little shaky now. Cara joined him, both staring out at the view with wide eyes. The valley was beautiful, but it also reminded them how quickly joy could turn to risk. Cara, we were lucky. Toby, yeah. A silence fell again. Not the playful kind. The heavy kind. The kind where you learn something. They sat still, letting the wind wash over them. Scene 10, heartbeats on the edge. They didn't speak for several minutes. Not out of awkwardness, but out of something deeper. Something quiet. Something heavy. The view before them was spectacular. A painter's dream. Mountains stitched into the horizon, the green sweep of the jungle stretching endlessly below. But Toby and Cara didn't see beauty just then. They saw what they had almost lost. Toby, softly, I thought it was just a hill. I didn't even check where the path ended. Cara, voice tight, I didn't either. I was just bouncing ahead like always. I wasn't thinking. Toby's claws instinctively dug into the dirt beneath his paws. Toby, muttering, some explorer I am. Cara, gently, hey, don't say that. He didn't answer. He kept staring at the edge. The wind pushed softly at his fur. Not aggressively, but enough to remind him that just one more step would have changed everything. Cara, quietly. When I first got to the jungle, I was scared of everything. The sounds. The shadows. Even the trees felt like they were watching me. Toby turned toward her. She looked out across the valley, her eyes far away. Cara, but then I met you. You were bold. You knew things. You leapt like nothing scared you. Toby, whispering, I guess I forgot to be careful. Cara, shrugging softly, we both did. They sat together, shoulder to shoulder. The sun had shifted above them now, casting long rays onto the rocky cliffside. The wind continued to hum, less like a warning now, more like a song. Scene 11, a conversation with the sky. After a long pause, Cara leaned back, lying flat against the warm stone. She let out a breath like she had been holding it since they stopped. Cara, you ever talk to the sky? Toby blinked. Toby, talk to it. Cara, closing her eyes, yeah. I do that when I feel tiny. Toby laid down too, his head resting beside hers. Toby, after a pause, what do you say? Cara, I don't say anything fancy. Just, hi, I guess. Or, thanks for not letting me fall off a cliff today. Stuff like that. Toby chuckled softly. Toby, to the sky, and hey sky, thanks for reminding me to slow down. Cara, adding, and for giving us good pause and quick thinking. The sky, of course, said nothing back. But it didn't need to. Its silence was its answer, and its comfort. Scene 12, what bravery really means. Cara, sitting up, do you think we're brave? Toby thought about it. Toby, I used to think brave meant not being afraid. Jumping higher. Running faster. He looked over the edge again. This time, not in fear, but in understanding. Toby, but now. I think being brave means stopping. Even when you don't want to. Cara nodded. Cara, being brave is knowing the edge is there, and not having to test it. They both looked out over the valley again, this time with calmer hearts. Cara, smiling gently, my mom always says bravery and wisdom should walk together. One without the other is just trouble with nice stripes. Toby, laughing, your mom sounds like someone I'd get along with. Cara, you would. She likes tigers. She says they have strong hearts. Toby felt something warm bloom in his chest. Not pride. Not excitement. Just peace. A kind of peace he hadn't felt before. The kind that made you feel safe in your own paws. Toby, maybe next time, we explore with a plan. Cara, and maybe a snack. Toby, definitely snacks. They both smiled. From a distance, it might have looked like just two young animals resting at the edge of a cliff. But in that moment, they had grown. Just a little. Just enough. They were still wild. Still playful. But now a little wiser.
Join Toby, a playful jungle tiger, and Cara, the curious kangaroo, on an unforgettable journey through the heart of the wild. Packed with laughter, surprises, and a dash of mystery, this adventure celebrates friendship, courage, and the thrill of discovery.